Hello, 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 and welcome to Huts Gaming League Racing, guys. Welcome. We're on race 4 in Zandvoort. Hello, hello, Bellini. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we're on race 4 of Zandvoort now in our league, and we have just currently got up our standings. Our current ones, if you were here for last week, we did mention that the drop round, the worst race gets taken off, or the race that you didn't drive gets taken off at the end. However, not relevant at the moment, as we are only, I think, not even halfway. This might be the halfway point. We'll have to we'll have to look back and see where we're at there, but not relevant until kind of towards the end, basically. When the points really start racking up. So yeah, we will obviously look at that towards the end and see how close it actually is properly at that point. But yeah, so coming off of race 3 last week in Hungary in the wet, we have Ferry Schroeder still leading the driver standings at the moment, number 1, and then Tomek Grejic in second, followed by Angel Jovanovski in third, followed by Martin Varga in fourth. Fifth is, well, who we call Cody Maverick, but obviously on the screen it might be a little bit different. Number 6, or P6, Marco Esposito, followed by Jordan Lake in 7th. In P8, Sissio Malaya in 9th, Baron van Bunker, Pookie. 10 is Adam Radek. 11th is Vajanovic. P12 is Schlowick. 13th is Matheson. 14th is Dominic Sidell. 15th, Adam Isailovic. P16 is Harry Tomanen, followed by our Huts legend Sherlock in 17th. 18th is Jesse Metanich, 19th is Tobias Atkinson, and 20th is Michael Pennings. Michael Pennings, yeah, Michael Pennings 20th, P20. So there is quite a big gap between P1, P2, P3. However, between Tomek and Grosik, Angel is quite close, So a lot can change in one race. We had a crazy race last week with in Hungary with the wet. A lot of crashes, a lot of spin-offs, a bit of drama at the end in the last few laps. So, and I think it was I want to say it's Martin Varga who won that last race. So, yeah, see if you can keep that form for this race, keep that going off through. Obviously, you have to beat the likes of Ferry Schroeder, who is, I would undoubtedly say is our fastest driver in the Huts. However, the other races aren't too far behind him, and there's always room for mistakes to be made and opportunities created for other drivers to take a win. It is just that close, so you never know what might happen. We've got about like a minute before qualifying starts, so for the time being, just gonna relax, sit back and wait for that qualifying to start. It is absolutely scorching in my front room at the moment, so I might from time to time take a little drinky, a little snack. If you do hear that, I apologise, but I also don't apologise, so you know. But yeah, it should be a good one today. I'm hoping for a nice clean race. It's nice that it's dry, so we get to see the true pace of some of the drivers. I dabbled in a little bit of Zandvoort myself this week to try and get a test of the track and how it felt, and what was a good pace to have. Helps to get the data, you know? Helps to get that little bit of data. just so I can get more accurate representation of laps as well, and what's a good lap and what's not. So, but it seems like we've got a good amount of drivers who are very fast. So it should be a quite close competition in the front, and especially in the midfield as always. I imagine that we're also on probably a pit stop's probably mandatory as well. So with that being said, obviously strategy plays a massive part in these races. A part that I, at the moment, I'm not quite educated on, let's say. I couldn't tell you whether Zandvoort has a better undercut or overcut. These guys probably do. They know a lot more than me, hence why they're the drivers and I'm the commentator. So, hoping that a strategy plays a massive part and we see different strategies as opposed to everybody doing the same thing. It always makes for a bit more of a fun race when someone does something a little bit out there and a little bit unique to create a bit of drama. I do enjoy that. And so we are just waiting for them to finish up the practice, and we'll be underway in a second. I could probably just switch it over now for you guys. So let's go and do that. Now that you've stared at the standings for way too long. Meow! And this should be... Bear with us, guys. I know it's a black screen. There we go. Oh, it takes a while to get in there, but yeah, let's wait for it to switch over, and then we should be good. Oh dear. Right, 1 sec.
Green light. Go, go, go.
I'm trying to quickly do something in their lifetime. Not connected. Oh dear. Here we go. Race control issues as we get underway. That's the least thing I want right now. Go here. Pop. And there we go. Our guys are now out. Our drivers now on track. I'm gonna quickly get a T-shot before a lap starts. 1 sec. And I don't know why that electronic screen's up, so I'm gonna try and stop. We're all just about getting there. Back, guys. I do need to get rid of that screen there. 1 sec. Circuit map. I'm sorry, guys. This is awful. There's got to be a way of turning this off. Dear me, this is not going well, guys. I apologize. Let's just see if it's that. Shift Y, let's have a look. I cannot get rid of this car electronics, so I'm afraid it is staying. So yeah, you might have to see that on the left, but however, I don't think it's affecting all too much. in terms of quality. So I guess we can just leave it there. But I apologise if it is a little bit jarring to see. Obviously, it was a bit more fun to not have a bit more of a track to see. But oh well, I'll figure it out. But yeah, we have our first lap set by Bragg, then Jordan Lake with a 136.3, which is an extremely fast lap. Bragg has gone over the line with a 137.3, and Schroeder with a second clear of Jordan Lake with a 135.3, which is insanely fast, alien fast. Esposito puts himself into P3 with a 137.3. Tomanen then puts himself into P3 with a 137 flat, followed by Schlowick in P6, who did a 138.3. So Schroeder setting an extremely unrealistic bar for every other driver on here at the moment, as more people cross the line. With Sherlock with a 137.6. Brains follows with a 140 flat, which might be our slowest time at the moment, fortunately for Brains, as Matheson was a 136.8, and the gap between Schroeder and the other front runners of this, or at least the top pack of Huts, is insane. A second difference. I think what is Schroeder's home race, if I believe I heard correctly. So I suppose it would only make sense for Schroeder to be the quickest at his home race. I do hope I'm right in what I'm saying there. We're not just making up his nationality for the sake of drama. Well, maybe not so much drama, but you know what I'm saying. You guys understand what I'm saying. So now we're going to be looking at people improving their laps, as Jordan Lake is a 10th up on his, and he's about to cross the line with a 136.2, so he does improve, but it's not enough, as Cody Maverick puts himself on the front row with a 135.6. So only 3/10 off of Schroeder in that big bulk of a car. It probably suits Zandvoort probably massively. I imagine with all the speed it can carry, chew these curbs up, and you kind of need that in some of these corners. Something that can just kind of waltz right over the curbs. You can make a lot of time up. I've come quite a bit of it. It will probably have the suspension of sorts to just kind of do that, as opposed to other cars. A bit similar like McLaren and Ferrari will probably struggle going over the speed bumps of this track, as Matheson puts himself on the second row in P3 with a 135.8. So he improves. Varga, a last race winner, in P4 with a 136.1 near 2, as Esposito finds himself a 10th up on his lap, but probably won't be. It might just be enough to put him in the top 10 at the moment. And we say it was a 10th, it's now 7/10, so he's improved massively. Loses the back there, a little bit of a tank slapper on that exit. If you put the throttle down a bit too much without opening the wheel on that corner, your back end will go. Even more so in the likes of a Porsche. It's a bit of a tricky corner. So I think it's the same with those two corners in a row. You can find your back end just slipping out a little bit if you're a little bit too hasty on the pedal. Just got to make sure you line up the car, as he doesn't quite get the pace through here. And this is the penultimate corner to straight, where you want to go flat through and try not to go off the track, but you only gets 2/10 up on his last step, but that does put him in the top 10 for now, as Tomanen is a second as he crosses, is at a 135.9, and that puts him in to P4 on the second row behind Matheson. And we're getting a bit, nobody's come too close to Schroeder other than Cody Maverick at the moment, as he's about to start his another lap to solidify his P1 place. As Cody Maverick is just behind on his Delta. He's got a few more corners to go. Bit of a long right. Accelerating there. There's another one where your back end might just slip out a little bit. It's important that you straighten out the car before you accelerate. But if you manage to do it a little bit early, you can find yourself grabbing a lot more time. You just need the back tyres to just grip as you accelerate outwards. And Matheson is not up in his time either, but Mariello is. And I don't know if I've seen Maranello before. I think he might be a new driver of this season. He's running a 137 flat. And he's 4/10 up on his lap now. Touches the grass a little bit. No pun intended. I love the Lambo. One of my favourites. Back end slaps out a little bit there. Trying to get all the pace on this last corner. Has to flat through. That's where all the speed is. Oh! And he's just a 10th improvement. Just into the 136s. 136.9. Puts himself into a top 10 above Esposito as he just pushes him out. But there's definitely time there to be gained from Maranello. As he goes again for another lap. Schlowick is 3/10 up on his lap. Sitting into P15 at the moment. Brains his teammate in the Aston. I absolutely love the car livery on this Aston. It's probably one of my favourites actually. It looks very nice on this track at the moment. Didn't look too great on Hungary, but on this one it just looks just pops a little bit more. A little Huts logo on the sides as well, represented. Can always appreciate that. I'm not sure what the Aston Martin drive's like, to be honest, on this track. Comes across as quite a bit of a safe car. Can't imagine you always notice you can always jump over the curves a little bit with the Aston. As he comes around the last few corners, he's 4/10 up, and this might just place him. Oh, I think he only places just above 30 if he pulls out this lap. He is 5/10 now. He drops a couple on this corner, and you just see the mistake being made right there as he takes too much curb and loses all that time. But fortunately for Schlowick, there is more time for another lap, and he knows there is time to be gained. As we go again, as Schroeder is still holding P1, he's not up on his lap. It's like he's pushing it. No, he's 5/10 behind. I can't imagine he improves this. No, not in these last few corners, as Cody Maverick has a yellow, and he must have a little bit of a crash there, I imagine, as he goes back to the pits. Masson looking to put himself into P2, probably looking for P1 most likely, but the likes of getting it from Schroeder are very slim. But he is 2/10 up on his lap, but he's got quite a bit of the track to go before he finishes. He's just got to keep all the time, but say 2/10 up on your first few corners. That's always nice to see. You can always got make time somewhere, improve. See flats there. This corner's a bit of a difficult one. Break a bit late into it. Where is Jabba, Bonker? It's his birthday today. It's Big Jabba's birthday. So, happy birthday to Big Jabba. He's like 45 years old, I heard. Really bald. Really bald and 45. It's crazy. It's a mean combination. But I hear he's bald at the age of 20 anyway, so I suppose it's not really much difference there, is there? It's just another day. In terms of the hair situation, anyway. But happy birthday! Hope you enjoyed your gifts. I'm sure he'd be ecstatic with what he's got. So, yeah, I think that's where both our brothers are at the moment. As Matheson pops over 135.9, so he improves, but not onto P2 in the CrowdStrike Ferrari. As Angel, our P3 in the driver standings. 135.9, not improving this lap as he sits behind Jordan Lake, qualifying Jordan Lake in P7 with a 136.2, which is a impressive lap, considering he was only practicing earlier today. He's not done much, so to be able to come in and, I mean, what we're looking at now, the time here, is that Jordan Lake might be breaching into the 135. So, in that regard, for a man who's not practiced all too much, this is an impressive place to be, but is to be expected of our former F1 champion. Oh, and you know, I just gave him the commentator's curse. He just pushes a little too much. And he just ends up veering off the track. And Angel goes through safely, thank God for that. As now, Jordan's only got probably one more lap to put out now. But with them tyres, it might be difficult to have the... to make an improvement on that, basically. That's what I'm saying. My commentary is a bit slurred today. I think just before, like an hour before here, I woke up from like a nap. I had to get a nap. I was so tired today. I don't know why. I could have easily missed the race. I was that tired, dude. So I had to wake myself up and get myself. I wasn't even mentally prepared for this day, to be honest. But we're here. We're here. Oh. And in all honesty, guys, there's not much improvement going on around the board. Tomanen is 2/10 up. That places him in. It does place him above Angel. If he keeps it, which at the moment he is. Flat round here. Hopefully the understeer of the car doesn't drag him off wide. It doesn't, keeps him in. Keeps the speed as 3/10. Tomanen now into P4 in the second row as he knocks Matheson and Angel off that spot there. So now he just sits behind Martin Varga, who's in P3. And we are coming down to the last few seconds of qualifying now, as Schroeder has not been placed off of P1 with that 1:35.3. Yeah, Cody's not improving. Schroeder's doing crazy stuff on the track. Varga's sitting pretty in P3, Toad in P4. The only people that are out right now is Jordan Lake. He's 5/10 up in his left. As Angel's in his way, he's going to have to move. Will Angel move? They're both trying to improve the laps. Oh, this is a tough situation. Angel has to get a move on. Jordan Lake's on an absolute flyer. And Angel's not even improving, so we're just going to this. I don't want to start causing a bit of drama here, but I know if that were me, I'd be screaming and going, get out of the goddamn way. But might be a little bit of slipstream here for Jordan Lake as he slips behind Angel, who's not improved on his lap, but Jordan Lake has his for the 4/10 up, and he goes into P5, so he finds himself in the top 5, third row, accompanied by Matheson as that ends. And Angel, probably not intentionally, but gave him a little bit of a slipstream at the end there. But maybe he might have been blocking him a little bit, but also probably not intentionally either, as Cody Maverick's not upon, well, not improving upon his lap, so Cody will come over now, and that will be the end of qualifying as Schroeder dominates with a 1:35.3, and Cody is going into the pits now, 3/10 behind him in P2, so that's our front row. You just see it on the left there, where everybody's sitting nicely with our 20 racers, 20 odd racers, sorry, we got 22 today, so thank you for showing up, everybody. Always appreciated. Always enjoy your company, even if you are lurkers or in the race watching it as we're, as we're streaming. So let's back out of it. Let's drive again. I can't believe I have to have that little car electronics thing on the side. I don't know how to get it off. I could probably try and quickly get it off now, but we'll see. It's not HUD. Get out of here. No, that won't be it. Absolutely saying to me that we're not even we're not even driving, and something like that pops up. So it's insane. It's not. Is it 12? No. Insane. We'll get it. We'll find it. Should try to fit there. There's just nothing here to get rid of that. Or at least nothing that's obvious to get rid of that little thing. So I'm not really sure what we can even do about it, to be honest. It's just stuck there. Ah, wait, here we go. Cyberhood MFD up, MFD down. This might work. No, it doesn't. What's the blooming point now? Might as well do this as nothing's happening, eh, guys? Might as well just try and Tronics, pit stop, cycle hood up, cycle hood down. I guess we're just stuck with it, guys. As the formation lap gets underway. Absolutely insane. You just can't get rid of it. It's just stuck there forever. I think I left it on whilst I was doing my own little practice, and unfortunately it just kind of stayed there despite the fact that we're not racing and we are spectating only. So I don't think I can only get rid of it if I'm in the race, which makes absolutely zero sense. So yeah, oh well. At least we, you know. Actually, I don't know what we get to see from any of it. I think it's my settings. I don't think it's the car that I'm watching or spectating. So, in that regard, we don't even get any insider knowledge of what's going on with their car. It's just my settings on the left there for no reason. It's always fantastic. So, we are getting the formation lap underway after 3 long minutes of trying to sort out settings and the drivers sorting their setups, their strategies, and trying to find or discover, I say discover, they probably already know, the best way to try and win this race. And one thing I don't like about ACC is the formation lap. The driving in and out of people, I get why it's done. If you've ever been on an online lobby in this game, you'll know why it's done. However, it's not very immersive, is it? To be driving inside and out of people. If people would just, I think Le Mans probably do a bit better where they have everybody in like a pit limit kind of thing. I wish they just did it for people, you know? Probably better that way. Just do it for people. You'd be fine. Well, what do I know? What do I know? But we're going round to the last couple of corners now. As this race is about to get underway. And here's to hoping we have a clean turn 1 into the hairpin. I don't want to curse or curse it, but it could. I mean, it's been alright for the past 2 ones, hasn't it? It's been alright. It's been the ones that we've streamed. We've had a couple here and there, but nothing too bad. Nothing crazy. So at least there's that. Oh my god, we got it off. What's this? Oh my god, guys, I'm sorry. Okay. We're about to get the green lights, guys.
Green light.
And off we go as Schroeder gets off to a good start. Cody side by side with him. Everybody scuffling around at the back. Jumping on the inside. Schroeder has a nice lead going into the corner, so he's not disturbed by no one as Vargas slips on the inside and takes that position from Cody Maverick. He drops down a position. There's yellow flags at the back. There's a huge crash. And it's Sherlock and it's Surrey who get caught up in it, and it's Bragg. Oh, three drivers just coming together there. Oh dear. It's not as bad as it could have been, but it's certainly not good. As Matheson takes over Jordan Lake in that corner. Into the fast right. Schroeder already 0.6 second gap on P2. The Vargas just following behind. Cody Maverick wanting his P2 back. Vargas just kind of stole that from right under his nose. Probably wasn't expecting such a good start from Vargas. As Tillman sits P4, Matheson P5, Jordan Lake following in P6. Angel way back in P7, at least for him. Mariniello found himself into P8 with a big healthy gap. Hackinson is 1.4 seconds behind as he holds up Esposito and creates that big gap now. And Esposito looking around the outside, might get the better exit here on Hackinson as he does, but he's just nowhere for him to go as his back end slips out. Pennings keeps it in. It's a fast little right here, so he break down into third gear or second, depending on what you're driving. Flat out. Will he do it? He does. Esposito looking for the slipstream. And I think Esposito might look into making a big dive into this corner. Will he do it? No, Hackinson covers it off. But Esposito gets the better entry and the better exit, but still cannot get the car. And this is the problem with Zandvoort, is that you struggle to overtake massively on here if you're not in the correct position, as Brains feels the pressure from Rizov behind him. And Rizov just looking to go anywhere, left, to right, where can he go? As Brains turns into a giant wall on the track. Back to Schroeder, who makes the gap into 0.8 seconds. That's already nearly a second gap on Vargas, but understandable with the pace that he's been showing. I can't imagine there'll be too many people keeping up with the likes of Schroeder. Vargas does get the better corner there and just close that gap a little bit. Cody Maverick sits behind Vargas. Just going to look it down as Sherlock makes a pass to Bellini, who looks like he's made a mistake. Sherlock now takes that position. He's just sitting behind Bellini now, and he'll have to take that back as well. In the pink Audi, a British choice in an Audi anyway, but a pink one, who would have thought? As unfortunately, we've already had somebody retire the races. Hackinson. I would love to see what happened there. He has the pressure of Esposito behind him before he loses 3 positions. And I wonder if he just takes this a little bit too slow, if he might just touch somewhere he wasn't supposed to. And I didn't get absolutely anything, so God knows what happened there. But he did lose 3 positions. God, this stream is going awful. As Mariniello comes off a little bit there with a bit of dirt on his tyres now, allowing Esposito to have a bit more grip. Might catch up on the corner. He's having a bit of a mare of a third lap. We're only 3 minutes in and the gaps are beginning to form massively between the front pack and the midfield. And it was, as I said earlier, the front pack are all exceeding around the same pace. Schroeder does lead it. But they all are tight with one another. The pace difference isn't massive amongst these, and so I feel like it's anyone's game for P2 at the moment, or at least anyone's game for the top 7. Anyway, we've got a bunch of drivers here that are just not very quick on this one track. You see, it's just a train behind Schroeder as he creates a little gap of 1.4 seconds between him and Vargas, and I think he'd be happy to see that little train behind him as well. And just being a little bit faster than Vargas helps. If he gets stuck behind someone in the Zandvoort, it might be very difficult to overtake. And what that causes is a lot of fighting in that train between a bunch of people who are all of around the same pace. And so it will allow Schroeder to just basically increase that gap a little bit more and more. as the laps go by, as the drivers behind him fight amongst themselves for P2, as Esposito takes over Maranello, who looks like he got a terrible exit out onto the straight there. Might have had a bit of a slip up, as Angel just finds himself off the track. And I just want to have a quick look at what's happened here. And he just brings a lot of venom into that first corner, and his back end leaves him. And in the attempt of trying to keep up with the top 6, finds himself now just far behind that top pack. And I mean, he is far behind. He is a good 7 seconds from Jordan now. And what a drive you'll have to shorten that gap from our former F1 champion. As Jordan Lake is extremely fast around this track at the moment. And like I say, with minimal practice as well to be up there, kind of just shows the talent of Jordan. Just hop on a game, be quick, and get yourself some points, and then go to the one that you prefer more. It's a nice life. Probably a few drives probably below him, probably a bit envious of that kind of style. So Schroeder still does lead, and we're 6 minutes in now. These gaps forming, so now you can kind of see it on the map to the left there, where you have your front pack led by Schroeder, and then your next midfield pack is led by Angel, who's probably much quicker than the drivers just behind him at the moment, but only here on the premise of the mistake he made into the turn that he's coming up to now. And then just behind this midfield pack, you have car number 26, who is La Rocca. And this is where you see now, I mean, sometimes you see the best fights just here at the back. Sherlock just twitches on the inside, looks at it, La Rocca's on the outside, Maranello follows through as well. And I don't know if a mistake was made, or if La Rocca just allowed that to happen on the premise of pace, but just allows Sherlock and Maranello to fly through. And it looks like Maranello's got his bearings again, as well, as Ishivenko passes Bellini. Just under pressure of Rizov, who looks just a little bit faster. His brains is in a little bit of a respectable P16 just behind La Rocca. I think he might be the next person to try and make that move. To go back to the top, there's a gap between Schroeder's back. It has shortened a little bit, but not massively, only by a few tenths. As the pack just behind now, it's just turned into a real big train, and it's going to get to a point where somebody's going to want to make the dive on Cody. It gets a bit dirty. Yeah, let's get loving the steer. Gets in the slipstream of Cody, who's just I mean, the Nissan's quick on the straight. I don't think he has probably been a bit of passion. Matheson looks on the inside, but has to back out as Tomanen doesn't really give him the space for such an audacious attempt into that corner. And that drops Tomanen a little bit behind Cody. It gives him a bit of breathing room as these three now fight for P4 in 2 Ferraris and a McLaren. And Cody, the pressure off of Cody is just relieved a little bit. And all that pressure is now shifted onto Tomanen, who has to keep these two racy boys behind him. And which plays into the advantage of Angel, who has shortened the gap from 7 seconds to 5.7. So the pace, so the battling ahead is allowing Angel to slowly creep up back into position that he lost so unfortunately earlier. As Jordan looks for a better line into here as Matheson's back end slips down. He ends up in the crash, and it's just a little bit of a slap of the back end. And now Jordan has the pace, but Matheson, will he fight for that position back into this dangerous corner? And he does. He has to make the space for him. He just slips in behind. It's great defending by Matheson. And it was a good recovery. That could have went absolutely pear-shaped for these two drivers in the Ferrari. But thank God they managed to hold it together. Some good racing there, boys. But this has allowed Tomanen to make a bit of a gap on them now with the one. He's got a 1 second gap. And now Cody feeling the pressure of Tomanen again as he separates himself from the likes of Matheson and Jordan Lake. Varga is now slowly. He's made it now. He's under a second. He's catching Schroeder slowly over these next few last few laps. Sorry, he's been just kind of slowly bringing it in, just reeling it in, And I wonder if just Varga's just found himself into a bit of a flow state. And we talked about the continuation of form in from the last race, and Varga seems to have kept his, and he's ready to take this P1 from Schroeder as he's turned that into and I'm sorry, Varga, I have to cut that short for you at the moment, but Jovanovski has spun again on Zandvoort, and he's just dropping down the standards now and has to wait for a moment, and this might be it now if he can just get the car moving. He can't, he has to wait for the whole field to pass through his... No! I think Brains gets caught in the crash. It shows. Oh god, Shagstar has to go past. And unfortunately for Brains, who was having a good race, has just clipped the end of Jovanovski, and that is a shame to see. As Angel, who he's contending for P1 at the moment, is now just basically just dropped all those points with the mistake he's made. And it looks like that championship is just slowly slipping out of his hands, race by race and mistake by mistake. As Schroeder is now under pressure of Varga, who seems to have the better... I mean, I can only imagine this is a tyre wear issue or something to the pace difference here. All of a sudden, have become extremely prevalent as Varga holds not the fastest lap, that does belong to Angel, but faster lap as Schroeder looks like he drifts around that corner, and he's so under pressure at P1 now. As Fabrizio goes into the pits, Brains slips into the pits for his repair, and this is the early pit stop, but it might play into, this might be a good choice for likes of Brains, a bit of damage, repair it now, get it out the way, and just carry on the last 47 minutes. And we're just going to switch back to Schroeder in P1 under the pressure of Varga still, as Cody Maverick is still behind by 4 seconds. Tomanen putting the pressure on Cody. Matheson now shortening that gap from him and Tomanen, and Jordan Lake struggling to keep up with the free front. He's slipping a second behind. He has not improved since the Matheson defense in these last few points from a couple of laps ago. As he kind of sees the front three, and it looks like Varga looks to attempt on the outside, which is extremely brave on the likes of Schroeder. But Varga looking to stick it to Schroeder and put himself into a position in these driver standings. And the only way you're going to do that is if you are aggressive, if you are looking for P1. You can't be a passenger if you want to win and beat the likes of Schroeder. Got to be on your A game. There's not many races like last race where the likes of Schroeder might make a mistake. Those come rarely, so you got to take those opportunities. And when we say it, Varga just goes off, and he looks like he's trying to follow Schroeder into them corners, and that is all it takes to lose a race, despite whether it be 46 minutes left, 10 minutes left, or a whole race. That now has become a problem for Varga as he drops 2 seconds behind Schroeder. And thankfully for Varga, it's not a massive crash or anything like that. He just went onto the dirt bit, and he'll just have to get back into that flow state he had. Again, now Schroeder didn't leave his, as now he increases that gap by 5 tenths, and Cody just catching up to Varga a bit since that mistake, and still under the pressure of Tomanen in his rear mirrors. And unfortunately, we have just sitting in last here, which doesn't reflect his qualifying time. His qualifying time was quite quick. I can't see. Sorry guys, bear with me. Yeah, so we have... I'm going to do this one, just get that thing off there. But I think that time is respective of the fact that Surrey has done a pit stop. So he did an early pit stop. I think that's probably to recover the damage they had earlier. So I think you'll fly through these back markers. I don't want to really call them that. It sounds a bit disrespectful, but in case of Surrey, that's probably what they are. As he gets into the slipstream of Shank. And will he pop in on the inside? He's not brave enough to make the lunge. I think it's too far away. Yeah, you can't quite see that from that angle, unfortunately. As people now start coming into the pits, as Mariniello slips into the pits and Angel slips into the pits. He has a stop and go for 30 seconds. So this is, unfortunately for the Light Angel, this has not gone his way whatsoever. As Schroeder still leads now by 2.6 seconds of the gap that he had on Varga earlier, and Cody's not gotten himself any closer since we left him earlier, but still finds a bit of a time flapper there on the back of that McLaren, but recovers well. And Jordan Lakes has now shortened the gap to Matheson, so he's gone down for I think it's like a 2-second gap now, and he's brought that down to 0.7 as this train is still prevalent in the race. It's not as close as it was earlier, but it's probably enough to give you a little bit of slipstream, to maybe even give you a little bit there on some of these corners. As Mariniello slips out of his pit, and that's technically being lapped, but these guys at the front will have to pit as well, so at some point that should form itself back into the same lap as Hackerson just following behind Schloek in P9. And the gaps on this race have all but just now massively formed, and your closest race at this moment in time is Schloek, Hackerson and Pennings. And the Tomanen and the front pack here between Cody Maverick, Tomanen, Matheson and Jordan Lake. Just gonna have a nice little stretch. Ooh. Ooh. Don't mind me, I just have a quick drink. So we've been chatting for 20 minutes straight. We got one. And yeah, it seems as if places have all but settled down. And we were right, this is Schroeder's home race, which he is currently dominating. As he comes across the back marker, as Matheson goes into pit with 42 minutes left of the race. So Jordan Lake now has a bit of free air. So now Jordan will be in the free air, probably allowing him to catch up a little bit to Tomanen and Cody, as Matheson looks for a bit of a cheeky undercut quite early in the race. I'm not sure how that'll play out for him towards the end of the race, but I don't know. Maybe it plays in his favour. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? I guess we'll find out towards the end. As Matheson now comes out of the pits, and he comes out in P16. And unfortunately for Matheson, he's come out, and Sherlock's had a spin in the same place as Angel. I wonder if this is just a Honda issue, where he struggles to take that corner there. As his number 67 comes flying around his brains again. Please, brains, be careful. Thank God. And thankfully, oh, just seen 30 in the back there in the gravel. Not having the best race ever. This Honda is struggling on Zandvoort massively. It just cannot seem to keep the grip on that one corner there. So we move to... yeah, unlucky Sherlock. As Schroeder continues his race, it's about a 2-second gap between him and Varga. You got like a blue flag in between them, and hoping that just allows Varga to slip through. Maybe Fabrizio might be a little bit nice here. And will he let him do it? If not, he could potentially accidentally. Oh, yeah, he's just kind of getting in the way a little bit of the front runner as he moves to the right. And that just allows Varga to slip through. But I think Schroeder had a little bit of a back-end slapper there coming out of that corner. So that's actually allowed Varga to catch up a little bit. Sherlock now heads into the pit after that little slip up. He'll drop down, and unlucky for the likes of Matheson, he ended up behind into a bit of traffic. He's got a lot of ground to make up, and he'll probably be hoping that a lot of the cars ahead of him hopefully go into the pits soon, so that he doesn't have to go through the pain of making the overtake on the slower drivers in the back of the field. It's LaRocca and Surrey. And we say Surrey. Surrey's in near last, as LaRocca's in P13, so I think Surrey has the pace. I just don't think he's putting the laps together, and I think he might be quicker as a blue flag, but obviously given the fact that he is a blue flag and he is a lapped car, this might create a bit of a problem as he does look to the inside. He says, yeah, I am quicker. It might be just faster for him to go ahead, and it might be quicker for LaRocca to just kind of follow. Yeah, I think LaRocca's probably made the correct decision there as Matheson just comes right through. LaRocca did not waste any time. He knows where his fights are and he knows where they're not, and he just lets Matheson right through there. He knows the pace difference, as I think that was Angel again, and he cannot get the grips of this car around Zandvoort. I couldn't tell you what the problem is, but I would say at this point the race is all but over for Angel and Sherlock, who's just received a stop and go as the teammates are just having a mare as they flash the lights. They might somewhat keep a happy mood, more composed mood, despite how bad that race is going for him. This is a shame. I think maybe it's just Honda and Zandvoort where the struggle is here. Look, you can just constantly see that back end just trying to slip out. He's just struggling with it massively as now slips into the pits, and Varga is he's closing the distance again on Schroeder. And I think it's safe to say Varga's just a little bit faster on his track in Ferrari. I think it's worth mentioning as well that Schroeder is also driving a Honda, not quite having the same issues as Angel Sherlock. No, maybe he is. Yeah, you can just kind of see where that back end just reaches out a little bit on the fast corners. And I think Schroeder just manages to anticipate where that's about to happen and keeps it together. And that might just be the slight difference between the two drivers, as we are now getting into the second half of the race within 6 minutes. Rizov gets passed by Matheson, who's making a giant charge on this midfield pack now, which again, like we said earlier, he's probably more hoping that a lot of these start pitting in front of him so he doesn't get caught up in the traffic. Oh, I nearly slipped out of my chair there. Yeah, Varga just, Tobin going into pits. Miles Jordan Lake into a bit more free air now, as he chases down Cody Maverick, who have both decided not to pit just yet. I'm a bit of a basic handed. These guys look like they're taking undercuts and stuff. I would always just do it at the half an hour mark because I don't know anything, and that feels like the best option at the time. But yeah, the chase is on now to Jordan. His other two rivals are somewhat behind him, having to cut through the traffic. And what this kind of allows the likes of Jordan and Cody is that the longer they race, the bigger the gaps between the traffic. Of what obviously you're going to drop down the standings, so you'll find yourself behind drivers who are potentially slower than you. And the more he drives, the bigger the gaps form, the freer the air he has, and he doesn't find himself in a position where he might be in a bit of a backmarker train, where he has to like maybe overtake 4 or 5 cars in quick succession of one another, which can be a bit of a pain when you're trying to put out fast laps to either overcut or undercut the drivers ahead of you. So this might play in his favour as Schroeder goes into pit onto fresh tyres. I think Varga does not follow him in, so these two are on a little bit of a different track. I'm just wondering if Varga will cover it off and potentially get his pit stop now and not allow such a strong potential undercut. As yes, Esposito in P4 in the Porsche. He's a bit of a silent race. With a dark horse, finding himself just climbing up the field a little bit. He's not pit yet though, so that'll send him behind a bit. As Magnussen comes up on Tomanen now, and they have found themselves together, and he's in the slipstream. Will he make the attack? Has he got the drive? No, Tomanen just hold. You see where Tomanen just places the car nicely in a position where Magnussen either has to do an insane dive or go around the outside, and so Tomanen just placed it in a position where he will force him to go around the outside. As Magnussen looks to sneak on the inside there, but again, Tomanen just doesn't allow it. And you've got the traffic ahead now, and this is where it gets a bit sketchy, a bit squeaky bum time for these two, because they'll have to get past these blue markers whilst also fighting one another. And the boys ahead will have to just make sure that they're aware of the situation, but it looks as if they're not. As Ishafake, oh, and it looks like Matheson might have just pushed him off a little bit there. And I wonder if Matheson's just waiting for him. It looks, maybe not. Oh, that is unfortunate. And I just think Tomanen might have just had a little bit of a bump from the back by Matheson, and that's just unfortunately just pushed him off, and that drops him down a few positions that he gained earlier. And I wonder now, that being caught in 4K, brother, you might get a penalty for that one. As Braze looks like he's defending his... No, I can't tell if he's a blue flag. I think he is. He's a blue flag to the blue flag of Matheson. And we're already seeing drivers 2 laps down, halfway into the race. As Brains takes the inside, Matheson goes on the outside. He just lets him slip by, nice and easy there. As Varga still has not took the pit option. I wonder if he just does it now. Maybe this is it. Maybe just on this 30 minute mark. Is this where... Yes, he's made... No, yes, he's made the decision. He said, now's the time. He comes in there a bit hot. Oh, touches the side a little bit there. I hope that doesn't play into a bit of damage that he might have to repair now. As Cody now takes that, takes the lead. But that's not his net position. That belongs to Schroeder, who's in P8, and we're just going to stick with Schroeder now and to see if he comes out. Well, not comes out. See if Varga comes out either ahead or behind Schroeder. As we jump with Varga, we're in the heli cam view. There's Matheson. Or Pennings. I think that was Pennings, sorry. There's Schroeder. Varga's coming out, and the gap is huge now. The undercut has worked so well for Schroeder, and I can't help but feel that that was potentially made by that little bit of a bump into the wall coming in. I wonder if there was any damage there that might have caused a bit of time, as Varga has a stop and go penalty of 30 seconds. I think he's come out the pits too fast in an attempt to kind of close the gap on Schroeder. He's found himself in an even worse position. Oh dear! And so Varga was having such a it was such a race that to me looked as if he could have won it had he been able to have made that overtake. And now that would drop Varga 30 seconds, which allows Matheson, Jordan Lake, Tobin, and hell, even maybe even Bellini to take that position from him, which is absolutely insane. Well, Bellini will have to pit, so it'll be Fabrizio. But I think he just comes out just ahead of Fabrizio with a stop and go. And you know, I'm not even thinking about how slow into the pits he was. Yeah, I think Fabrizio comes at So now Varga will find himself in not even in the top 10 as he comes out. And that is super unfortunate for Varga. But mistakes are always made, and this is what I always say. I always reiterate it. You might get bored of me saying it, but it's so easy to make just one small mistake, one tiny thing, and it really can just change the whole race for you. As Slowick and Varga in the service stop and go now. That allows Jordan Lake to go into P7. And there's a few cars ahead of him that need to pass Hackinson and Pennings. Yeah, so that'll place Jordan to P5. Matheson is ahead now by 6 seconds. So Jordan's got a lot to do to close that gap within such a small time frame of 27 minutes. I guess it's not a small time frame, but 6 seconds is quite a lot. You've got to be doing some serious lappage to get that. Especially if the driver ahead that's around the same pace, which I think Jordan and Matheson are around the same pace in the Ferrari. Varga comes out and Fabrizio is ahead of so I was kind of correct with the prediction of where Varga would come out. It's now a recovery try for Varga. How many points can he reclaim from the mistake made in the pits from the stop and go? So, yeah, unfortunately for Varga, he has now got to restart. It feels like a restart the whole race again, as he has to climb through another 11 people to get the position back which he had, which is a shame, as Schroeder's kind of slowly going back into his net position. As Hackinson, Esposito, and Cody still have not pit yet, so the net P1 is Schroeder, and your net P2 at the moment is Matheson, followed by Jordan Lake. He's found himself into P3. And I know it says over there, but you know, we're talking about the net here, guys. Let's talk about the net. So the podium position is now on for Jordan Lake, which is probably more than he expected, given off the qualifying position. As Bellini makes a little mistake. Oh, I think he might have slapped it to the wall there as he comes in for his pit. And he'll drop down quite down the standards a few bit now. As Varga collects P11 and is on the absolute charge to reclaim, as Pennings is looking the opposite way. You can't park there, mate. You've got to get back on the track safely. Does, but into the bit of all that gravel there. Onto the right. Might mess up those tyres a little bit. There are a lot of sharp corners on Zandvoort with the You can always just easily just kind of find yourself into a bit of a wall if you just overstep the boundaries a little bit. There's not much room for error on this track. It seems to have that same kind of British track feel of that of let's say Donington or Brands Hatch, where you don't have a lot of room to make a mistake. If you go off, you're probably going to pay the price a little bit, and it's very easy to as well, with all the dirt and the grass that surrounds you on this track. So yeah, dead easy to make that mistake. Luckily for Pennings, as Schulz with a pit finds himself at the P13, which I think is quite impressive for the Shank Star return. We've gone from 22 races to 17, so we're now missing 5 races. I think some of them might have given up, some have made mistakes and not deemed the race worthy enough to carry on. Now it's a bit of a shame for that, really. I absolutely adore this track, so I'd be absolutely gutted if this is where I slipped out or made a mistake on to a point where I couldn't race it anymore. That's it. Oh, I think Cody now goes to his pit. Atkinson into his pit too. Schroeder just slowly creeping back into his net P1 position, as he's still waiting on Esposito to make his pit stop. And yeah, we got to the point now in most ACC races where there's not much going on, but then as I say that, Matheson has taken P3 or P2 from Cody. And I was talking about Jordan Lake being P3 earlier. I did find it quite strange that he was that high up, and I completely forgot that Cody Maverick was. I didn't see his name. But Matheson has done the undercut, and now he's caught out Cody with it. So the undercut has worked perfectly into the hands of Matheson. But Cody will be on fresher tyres, so now he has to take that into account, Matheson, as he will be under the pressure of fresher tyres of Cody. He's definitely no slouch around these tracks. A complete whiz in that truck of a living car. I don't know how he does it, but I know I wouldn't want to do it. But he exudes talent. He oozes it out, our Cody. So now Matheson will be under the great pressure of that. As we get on to the straight, into the slipstream, goes a bit on the dirt bit. Matheson said, "Don't even touch my slipstream, you're not worthy of it." But Cody's car might just be a bit quicker in the straight, as Matheson has to hold it inside. And Cody didn't look to make the move there. He looks as if he's setting it up over a few laps. Sit behind, nice and quiet. Just creeping short on that distance up into the last corner, and that's where you just make the move. And I don't think you've got many other choices for overtakes on Zandvoort anyway, so I feel like that's kind of where you have to make it, regardless of whether even not you wanted to take it elsewhere. I think you might be able to sneak in a bit of an overtake on different lines here. So if you coming up here now, sometimes you can sneak a bit of an overtake here or on this next corner, but they are quite dangerous corners to try and make an overtake on. So really, you are setting this up for the penultimate straight into turn 1. So that's kind of where you want to make this. And we're just seeing there, we're just trying to shorten that gap a little bit up into that last corner. You can kind of see where it's happening. You're seeing the setup here by Cody as he sits comfortably behind. He takes his corner safely as Matheson's back end slips out, and this is what we're talking about by setting it up. And I wonder if just Cody had to slow down just to avoid that crash as he gets into the slipstream. And I think Mavsin just gets a little bit lucky there on the premise of Cody having to slow down. I think that could have been a time where he might have lost that position. But because of the mistake made, it's allowed him to kind of keep it. I don't really want to leave this fight. This is the closest fight that we have at the moment, as Freud has ran away with this race massively since Varga's mistake. And Varga is slowly creeping back up. He is a net P9. So that's 3 positions or 2 positions he's made since the slip up. He's still got quite a bit to go though. With 20 minutes left of the race, you'll have to be fast. You'll have to be doing that same pace he was using when he was catching Schroeder. As Cody just gets a little bit closer and closer, and they come together. He just slaps the back end, and Mavsin, he gets off free again with that, and it's and Cody now trying to defend his position from Jordan Lake, who's been slowly creeping it in lap after lap with these two battling and being stuck behind one another. And now Cody putting the pressure on someone else, and the tables have turned as Jordan looks to put the pressure on Cody instead now. And what a shame for Cody. Just all it takes when you're that close to somebody, or that close behind him, mistakes are easily made. As Esposito finally decides to pit with the last 18 minutes after the race. And now Schroeder takes his P1 back. With Jordan Lake coming off the track, he is now lost that time he had to Cody, as he slips up a little bit on that corner there, just behind Cody. I don't know if a mistake was made, or if there's a little bit of a push between the two of them. But the train that we had earlier has widened massively, whether it be down to mistakes or strategies. So it's unfortunate for both Cody and Jordan having a little bit of mistakes there, where there was a potential overtake to be made. We jot down this order. And I think we see Varga putting the absolute pressure on Fabrizio. And I don't know if Fabrizio is going to fight. Surely Fabrizio knows that Varga is of the P1 caliber, but Fabrizio wants to keep him behind as much as possible. He wants that P9, and I don't know how long he might hold out for. As Varga looks on the inside, and we're talking about the different lines you can take during this, and Fabrizio yields on the outside. He has no choice, as Varga just aggressively attacks that inside corner. And like I said, there's room for overtakes on those couple of corners there, but that's the only place you're looking, and that's only down to the premise of the different lines you can take going into that corner. But it is quite deep, but he makes the move stick regardless, as he now chases down Schloik and Hackerson, and then he'll be on the attack of Esposito, whose gap between him and Hackerson's quite massive. So whether or not Varga is capable of doing so, I guess we'll find out, but I don't know if the time disparity of those drivers is it's that massive to make that time within, what, 16-15 minutes? Given if Varga can make the overtake on Schloik and Hackerson in that time, the longer he stays behind Schloik and Hackerson, the more that chance kind of slowly fades away as he goes around the outside, look for a better exit, as Hackerson, I think, had a mistake and just yields that position to both Schloik, and Schloik looks to keep him behind. You see, Schloik's not making it easy for him. So if you want the position, you can fight for it. I'm looking to fight for the next 15 minutes, and we'll see if Schloik has it in him to keep that going. As that Aston Martin that makes himself wide. Doesn't not allowing that inside to be taken like it was last time on Fabrizio. Slowly not allowing that to, he's forcing the outside move, and Varga will have to make this attempt, and I think on that long straight. Oh, Varga, you can just see where the brakes is a little bit later on Slowick, and he's looking to try and take his regular race line, and he just and his braking point, and Slowick might do it just a little bit earlier, which nearly slips Varga up. As now on the straight, and I think I'm just wondering, Varga's impatience, will he just send it? Will he have enough for Slowick? He doesn't send it, but you can just see the braking point distance between them two, as Slowick brakes a lot earlier than Varga. He doesn't want to be stuck behind this any longer, as Slowick again he just wants to force the outside move. He's not allowing him. He's not making it easy, and now we are just seeing the potential chance of that P6 position to Varga. It's just slipping away more and more and more as Slowick just turns into a giant wall on the track of Zandvoort. And surely Varga's line has to be different. He doesn't. He's just still stuck behind. He's still sent up. He's waiting for some sort of mistake as he looks to the outside. And Slowick just holds the inside. Takes a different line. Will he get a better exit to make the overtake? You might have to go for a brave one here as Slowick defends it again. They go side by side. No, they don't. Varga, I think Varga's going to take... He does. He takes the attempt there. And he goes a bit deep, but he keeps it into the... Yeah, what an overtake by Varga. He's finally passed Slowick's giant wall. And now he's in the free air to chase down Esposito. But it is a massive gap of 22 seconds. I just don't think that's even possible. You would have to be doing insane. You'd have to be doing about 2 seconds a lap on the driver ahead. To even get close to that, that would be a last lap type of deal. So unless Esposito makes a mistake now, I'm afraid Varga's position at the end of this race will probably be P7, as Schroeder has a 14-second lead on the likes of Matheson, who is now under the pressure of Cody, as Jordan Lake has slipped, and Cody looks on the inside. He's not, no, he doesn't quite take it. And the battle for P2 is on again. And hopefully this time this doesn't come into a bit of a bump like it did in the last one. But I'm sure Jordan Lake will be hoping that it does, to steal that podium position from these two. I think coming off Matheson's race anyway, I can imagine Jordan Lake will get a, maybe not an on-track podium, but yeah, I looking at it, I can't imagine Matheson gets away without a penalty in this race. It's not nice as that sounds. Yeah, I just cannot imagine it. There's been a few too many little bit bumps here and there between drivers, and I can't help but feel like Matheson might have been at fault for at least a couple of them. So, but at least on track, you'll have the bragging rights as Cody looks to take P2 off of Matheson on track. Oh. Yeah, I think... yeah, right, Ty, how you doing, man? No, believe me, have something. Yeah. I think so too. I think maybe not so much, but yeah. It is Cody, but Matheson's defending extremely hard for this P2 at the moment. Oh, as we come down to the last 10 minutes. Yeah, sorry for the early pride. I didn't see. I was kind of focusing on the race a little bit there. I didn't see anyone chatting there. It's a tough race for Cody now. I think definitely Cody has the pace to make the move, but Matheson's just not making it easy. And then obviously the track makes it a little bit more difficult too. You only get 2 opportunities really to really make the overtake. Maybe 3 at a push. Let's see Fabrizio putting it on Hackerson here for P9. As you come up to the straight and you can see Brain's getting a little bit of a draft off there from his teammate. Fabrizio not close enough to make the move just yet on Hackinson. And you would have thought, given the positions, you'd have thought Brains would be giving Schlowick a little bit of a boost, but it seemed like it was the other way around. We need to get that Brains Schlowick bump drafting going on. Yeah, the GTR is a big boy. I think that's what makes it a bit more harder as well, is how big that car is. There's not much room for error in it. La Rocca goes off the track, and I'm talking to big boys. Ford Mustang just popping off the track there. You can see the damage on that left side there. The floor is practically the car's leaning to one side. That must have been a big hit he took there off the wall. As La Rocca now dead last with all that damage. And oh yeah, it goes without saying, doesn't it? I mean, you can see the visible damage on the axis there and the suspension. The car's he's giving it the Fat Joe lean back. Let me look at the state of that. As Florida still leads by a healthy 12 seconds, as Matheson is still under the pressure of Cody as they come close again for this P2 position. And unfortunately for Jordan, he's kind of not got any closer, despite the fighting going on ahead. There's a bit of a lurker in this race at the moment, just kind of waiting for an opportunity to take the position from both these guys. I put my money on it that these two ahead might just make a mistake, crash into one another. That's definitely a thing that could happen. So Jordan just has to keep his race about him as Matheson takes the craziest line to stop the slipstream, and Cody's having none of it. He follows him into it. He looks at, will he make the attempt on the outside as Matheson goes deep? You have a little bit of a switch route. It's not, unfortunately. Matheson just holds out again in that crazy dive to the right to just make sure that Cody wasn't getting any sort of slipstream, and this is some defending from Matheson. Does this mean Bellini officially has an overtake? Yes, I believe so. Bellini is still, I mean, we're talking about Bellini. He is ahead of La Rocca. He's ahead of Brains. It's 2 positions. You know, he's not last. And you got to think, 7 people have gone out this race. This started with 22 races. Now we're down to 17. So that's a fair few points. You know, at least in this league anyway. That's it. Matheson is still holding on. I'm afraid this is probably the closest race we have. There's no point really sitting with Schroeder. He's so far ahead. But you know, funny we're saying this, like we're coming down to the last 6 minutes now. Despite the fight that Matheson and Cody are having, they're kind of slowly catching up to Schroeder, which is crazy. As the blue flag just kind of gets in the way as Matheson goes off, and he has to cut the track a bit, and this allows Cody to possibly make a comeback. Will he do? He goes on the outside. Matheson holds a position again, and I'm just wondering, would that even be allowed to stick? I think the blue flag just got a little bit in the way in the corner. And somehow, in this race, we haven't seen Matheson make... look at Ishavenko making a few... Oh my god, he's going to go on the outside. Cody goes on the outside. Matheson trying to hold it on the inside. He doesn't allow it to happen again. And it's like I say, picking the point we were saying earlier, Matheson just... he has these mistakes, and yet somehow he just keeps the lead, and I'm not sure if he'll be allowed to keep that position at the end for that corner cut. I know he didn't really have much place to go, but hard defending afterwards. Cody's had enough. He looks a driver possessed as Masters' back end slips out just on that fast right. And he looks on the inside, and he comes together, and he goes round, and you just knew it was going to happen. It was coming sooner or later. It was just going to happen, and all the lurking Jordan Lake's been doing now finds himself into a podium position, and I saw it happening. I said it was going to happen. It was going to happen. These two drivers were just too close, and you could sense the impatience of Cody, and how many times Matheson was just somehow being able to hold him off despite the mistakes he's made. Jordan Lake just gets a little bit too excited on that corner, and Jordan, don't ruin it now. Do not ruin this potential podium chance. You have 4 minutes to go. You've got your moment. Make it stick. You've waited all race for this moment. Absolutely insane. I think I wonder what the outcome of that would be. In terms of the FIA, because that is, you know, a bit of dicey driving going on here for this P2. As now Jordan sits into a podium position. Ishchevenko scarily coming off, kind of in front of him. He has a blue flag. He'll have to move out of the way. And I think Ishchevenko has a bit. He has to let him pass. He has to let him pass. What is Ishchevenko doing? He's flashing him. He's not getting out of the way. He's slowing Jordan Lake down. And this is 100% a penalty for Ishchevenko. He has to let the blue flag pass. There is no way you drive against the top runners. As finally he does it, but it's a little bit too late. That will slow down Jordan Lake massively to Cody, who's looking to take that position back. Within these next 3 minutes, certainly doesn't help Jordan keep that position. Blue flag can't be doing that. That's complete violation there of rules and sportsmanship in racing. Now it looked as if he was kind of holding it back on purpose a little bit. As Varga just becoming the drift king for a second there. Cue the Tokyo drift music. Thankfully for Varga, he has made a giant gap on the likes of Schlowick, and I'm gonna have to go back here. I can't miss this. I cannot miss this. As Brains and Bellini were fighting for P15, a position has been made here, and I hope I've caught it. Brains slots in behind, coming down to the straight, and I didn't get to see nothing. This replay system stinks. We're not seeing anything. We didn't even get to see the overtake. Horrendous stuff. But we're coming up to what will be the last lap after this one. As it looks as if Schroeder has got this one in the bag massively by a whopping 12 seconds. I think that could have been a lot closer had Varga not made the mistake he did. And we could have had a tyre race for P1. But fortunately for Schroeder, he will take his home race. Should he not make any mistakes, that is. I don't want to curse the boy, but I do have a bit of a bad habit of doing that, I've noticed. As the gap is still 2 seconds between Matheson and Jordan Lake. And it doesn't seem to be closing for the likes of Cody, so I think in this last lap, with the gaps being so big, you might be looking at this being the final result for these drivers for this race. As Ishchevenko spins off and nearly collects another driver with him there. And he's Schul's giving him good Ishchevenko a wide berth as he takes P12 from Ishchevenko. I feel like I saw a fist bump, little fist pump there in the driving seat. So, our boy Shankstar's having a bit of a nice race. He's stayed quiet. He's done about his business. He's gone around the track, and then the return of him is nearly brought it into a nearly a top 10 position for Shankstar. I'm sure I'd be happy with this result for sure. As we're coming up to now the last few corners of Zandvoort in race 4 of Huts Gaming League. Schroeder comes around the last corner. Oh, his back end went a little bit there. It's a little bit of a sketchy moment. You don't want that happening on the last few corners. And here he comes, the race winner of Zandvoort, the race winner of race 4. In his home race, Schroeder comes through into P1. And he wasn't going to have it like it was last week. He takes this one. And on to the next for Schroeder. As Matheson keeps P2. Jordan Lake jumps onto a podium. Cody jumps into P4. I say jumps. He slides back into P4 from his little tangle with Matheson as Tomanen comes into P5. Esposito takes P6 as Shankstar will finish with P12, finishing his lap there. Varga, who was in contention for that P1 position, it says P6 there. I think the people backing out, but this is a P7 finish for him. Slowick with a fantastic drive will be into P8 or P. I think it's P. Yeah, P8 for Slowick as he comes in now. What a race for Slowick this is, as Fabrizio takes P9. Hackerson will close out the top 10 as his friend or teammate of that the same clan takes into P11. And I cannot comment anymore on. I refuse to say that, Russell. That was a very yeah, I mean, I feel like after that race we'll definitely see some position swaps with some penalties, because that was a bit something, wasn't it? So yeah, everyone who turned up, appreciate you watching. I'll switch over to the little outro. Let's turn this off for a quick second here. So you'll see our next race will be Paul Ricard in France. That is on the 22nd, and to make this a bit easier, that'll be next week. So if you're here just watching and you're not part of the Huts Discord, please join. You can join our Discord through various links. You can find us on SingGrid Racing. Find us on there. You can join right now. Sign up for the next race. It'd be amazing to have more people. If you are here already in the Discord and you have friends who drive, please share the Discord with them. Bring them in. The more people, the merrier. And we don't just do ACC. We are going back to F1. We are looking at LMU. So there's plenty of other opportunities to race on other different games. So yeah, please, if you're in here, do that. I'd appreciate that massively. Hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Maybe I might be racing, maybe I might not be. Who knows? But hopefully I'm here commentating. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, I'll see you all for race 5 at Paul Ricard. And yeah, if you're still here, thank you. Peace.